Saturday Night Live session, and I'm going to see if I can actually just share this with people. Okay, so that's still recording and it's still being sent. So I've sent everybody a little bit of a message. I wonder if it'll let me. If it will let me. Hello there if you're watching. Hello there if you are watching. I'm just seeing if this will let me share this to people. I'm going to let. Hey there, Heath. How's it going, mate? Yeah, thank you very much for that. Um, I said thank you to Beck because I think it was either you or Beck saying it was only like $40 or $41 or something to um get the ball rolling on it all. And then I had a concession card, so when I passed the test and go to pay for it, instead of paying like $70, $75, I only had to pay like 30 something. So that was pretty cool. Um, yeah, I'm chuffed. I've still got to go through the process of finding somewhere I can get like driving lessons and all that sort of stuff. Um, yeah, it would have been both of you. Actually, would have been while I was at your place talking when we were talking. That's what it was. It wouldn't have been a message on. My memory says it was a Facebook messenger message, but it wasn't. It was when we were um, talking together. Um, yeah, so I thought I'd do a live video. It's been a while since I've done one. Yeah, I thought so, but it turned out to be a lot cheaper than what I expected. And with the concession, when you go to get the card and stuff, to finally pay it all off, it's only $30, $35 with the concession. So that was awesome. Yeah, I've also gone back to TAFE, and I haven't been to TAFE since 1995. I've got a friend who's doing the same courses. It's a cybersecurity course, so we'll be doing like a couple of subjects a term just to get things rolling and just get me back into. Yeah, well, Els are going to take a while. I'm negotiating with my case manager to because they've promised me I think up to $600 worth of driving lessons that they'll pay for. Hi there, Marvin. How are you going? And so they've offered to pay for like get the ball rolling and stuff like that. But they're a bit difficult to pin down sometimes, so I need to get some of that stuff in writing, or at least threaten to call the ombudsman on them. They're after my pay slips now, and just like, well, they're for jobs that you haven't given me, like you haven't got me a job. So I don't trust the case managers for that sort of stuff, but it doesn't matter. There's 10 people in here, which is cool. Thank you guys. Um, so, but I'm getting a whole heap of things rolling. It started Christmas last year. Before then, so I got my passport renewed. So I've got the driver's license happening. Cybersecurity is a good course. Yeah. I met a guy years ago who was learning it in at university, and I sort of said, look, the Adelaide market is not the best for cybersecurity or IT and stuff like that. He sort of just fobbed me off, and he didn't want to know. But I've been around a bit, and trying to find any sort of IT workers were actually quite difficult. It's all sort of hidden. Hey, how you going? So what we'll do is we'll do that. I don't need to be put up with that shit. So it's funny how people come in here to make stupid comments and stuff like that. Um, I don't tolerate that sort of stuff. There's no need for it. But isn't it funny how um, the reason they're doing it? They said about me meeting recruiters and stuff like that. What was happening was I was working at the Garden of Unearthly Delights, and so every time they went to ring me or want me to come in for an appointment, I'd have to cancel the appointment or reschedule it or something because I was working full time. I was doing over 50 hours a week. I was working more hours than the job network provider was. I mean, if they do 9 to 5 and I'm doing from eight till 5, then I'm earning more money than them. Um, well, sort of. I don't know what the workers get, um, but I know that they pull all sorts of scams and things to get bonuses. So if they get bonuses if they put me in employment and then use the pay slips to say that they got me the job, whereas I'm trying to get them to admit on paper that they haven't given me any jobs. What they did do, and I got them to do and forced them to do, is buy me a pair of safety sneakers. Um, I didn't really need them. I had work boots, but I knew that the job I was doing, I'd be doing a lot of walking. So I wanted something a bit more comfortable. Now, it was only like an $89 pair of sneakers, and I think a friend told me that every time you sign up with a job search agency, they get about $600 a month, right? So they want to know what basically the reason they ask you for pay slips, right? And you're not legally obligated to give them. Um, there are sort of exceptions to it. Like if, for example, you say with the safety shoes, right? They've paid for that, and they want to know that I'm using them for work purposes. So in that regard, for that particular job, I will give them the pay slips for that. Um, but I state in emails, so I've got a paper trail that they didn't get me the job. So the stuff that I'm doing through Sidekicker, which is an app that gives you, if you're lucky, it'll give you hospitality jobs, manufacturing jobs, administration. There's no real administration in Adelaide anymore, but those sorts of jobs, right? So I'll do like a 3 hour shift at the Holiday Inn on Blythe Street, and that's one of my Zen jobs. So you're just clearing tables. It's pretty cool. Um, so yeah, so that's one job. Another job was with Jump Easy. Yeah, it is a load of crap. But if they're paying for stuff, right, I do feel like me proving. So, for example, if they've said, oh, you've got an appointment on this day, and I say, well, no, I can't make it because I'm working, and they go, well, okay. Now, there are people that will lie to them and say that they're working just to avoid appointments and whatever. But if I can prove that I'm working, like legally prove that I'm working, then they don't have a leg to stand on. They can't try and cut me off. They can't give false reports to Centrelink and all this sort of stuff, right? Um, yeah. Um, but this year, I want to achieve quite a lot. I made a mistake. Um, you know when sometimes you panic and you misread things, like your brain doesn't process things properly. See, with my network member, if I'm working, I get appointments. If you're working, you get appointments. Oh, if you're not working, no, hang on. See, with my if I'm working, I get appointments. Um, I get appointments regardless, and I don't mind the appointments. They're usually like under 5 minutes if possible. Most of the time, she just sends me a text message. Um, but I do know that they're trying to do it to get bonuses and stuff. Ah, yeah. Um, Most of the time, um, that's sort of what happens to with me. Um, but I have to let them know. It depends on like when I'm working, and see right now they haven't set another appointment, and it depends. So I could claim to be doing like a certain number of hours and all that sort of stuff. You're lucky because um, your job search provider trusts you. Mine sort of doesn't, and it depends if you've asked them for safety equipment or anything that's job related. So there has to be like a paper trail for them to justify doing that, even though or like a receipts and stuff. Um, Whereas what I would have preferred if they'd given me like the gift vouchers and stuff like that to go off and do my own shopping and whatnot. Um, but it depends. I've always bought my own equipment. It's probably better that way. You keep the receipt. Depending on the equipment and the industry that you're working in, you should be able to claim that back on tax, or at least a percentage of it, or if it's just work-related clothing, up to a certain amount. I'm not sure. I think it's something like $300 without a receipt. But most equipment's not going to be like $300 anyway. Yeah, it all depends. Um, for now, I don't mind it so much. If they are going to help me with getting driver lessons and stuff like that, so um, I don't mind. I don't mind at all. Um, because in the end, and the other thing, I want to do a few other courses and things. They're just one-off things, but they could potentially turn into other businesses and things. Saturday was really good. Saturday was a day off. Saturday was a day off. I just relaxed. Friday night with the Ed Sheeran concert was flat out. And my job is at the Village Pie Shop, and what they want me to do is just cook chips. And I started at 3:30. But the crowd didn't really turn up till 4 o'clock, so we got rid of the first batch of chips, and then it was pretty much non-stop. We were just getting hammered, people buying chips, because it wasn't so much there. It wasn't so much like an alcohol drinking crowd. So the ladies' toilets were absolutely the lineup for the ladies' toilets was ridiculous. Um, the men's was completely empty because there's no alcohol being sold. Strange that, isn't it? Like, yeah, it is funny. I think that the lineups to the men's is usually packed at events when they're selling like a lot of alcohol. I thought there would have been people buying a little bit of alcohol for Ed Sheeran, but it's a bit more like of a female audience. They're a bit more like romantic love songs, um, crooning kind of music. Um, Not too bad. Yeah, like it was pretty casual, but it was just repetitive, full on, just non-stop. But yeah, not too bad. One of the other jobs that I do is just supervising jumping castles, and lately there hasn't been a lot of work.
I've been watching the Australian Grand Prix today, and I'll be watching again tomorrow. That's pretty cool. Um, I know there's people. I could have been working over the next few weeks, but it would have meant having to cancel too many of my existing shifts. Um, tomorrow, not tomorrow, Monday. Monday, I'm working at the Morphettville Racecourse for the Adelaide Cup Day. Tuesday, I'm at the Entertainment Centre, and then again on Friday, I'm at the Entertainment Centre. Um, what else? So that would be Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday. Wednesday, I need to call up the Housing Trust maintenance to get a plumber out because I broke the spout off my tap in the laundry, and I just haven't had a day off where I can just ring. Yeah, there's, I think, no, there's a couple of concerts. I think the basketball is also on the 7th. There's something else happening. Yeah, I'm not sure. I think, yeah, one of them is a basketball. The basketball is usually a very crowded shift. Yeah, there's a concert on the 13th. I'm not sure what's happening on the 10th. But yeah, probably the basketball. Yeah, I know there's a super secret confidential thing happening on the 17th, but I think that's basically a basketball game, but depending on whether or not a particular team wins and they get to keep playing, um, like the next week or whatever it is. The Garden of Unearthly Delights has offered me Bump Out, so that's March 23rd. Yeah, March 23rd through till April 2nd. So mm, 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 that's like a week or so, week and a half, I guess. And then on April 3rd, I'm back at the Adelaide Oval. I think I'm at the Adelaide Oval on the 22nd of March as well. And then throughout April, you've got the Gather Round, and in the Village Pie Shop during the Gather Round, it is insane. No, Fringe isn't over. Fringe won't. Will keep going until, I know the Garden of Unearthly Delights goes until March 22nd, but I think the Fringe goes until the end of March. So I don't know. The reason what happened was I stopped. We were setting up for the Garden of Unearthly Delights, and that took 3 weeks. Um, they opened the Garden of Unearthly Delights a week early, and they still hadn't got all the tents and things up. Then Gluttony opened across the street, and then they finished. And I'm handing out flyers and things for a show called La Ronde, which is, it's not exactly adults only, but because of the nature of it, because it's got like a burlesque strip show kind of element to adults only themed stuff, you don't see any sort of nudity, but it's implied and all that sort of stuff. Um, but there's a lot of comedy, a lot of cabaret songs and dancing. People, each individual gets their own little segment. So there's comedy, there's acrobatics, trapeze stuff, and all that sort of stuff. So it's got a question and answer ticket. So it says here. Okay. So food you'd never get tired of. Yeah, I didn't like that idea. It wouldn't let me answer. It wouldn't let me answer the question. But the question to answer that question, the food I'd never get tired of would be spaghetti bolognese, I think, or tiramisu. Um, yeah. So what we do is we do bump in. So you set up, then there's the event, and then there's bump out. During the event, I'm working for another company that hands out the flyers. Um, the the Garden of Unearthly Delights. I got that job because I got along well with the spruiker at the front of the Garden of Unearthly Delights last year. Pizza, yeah. I had pizza tonight. I had a supreme pizza. Um, I thought that I would buy like a bigger pizza than normal because I thought I'd be saving like half of it until tomorrow. That didn't happen. So I ate all of it. So I'll probably go for a walk after this. Um, but yeah, so there's three people in here, which is cool. Um, yeah, so bump in, bump out, flying in between. Then there's another company that I worked with last year, and I'm going to get back in touch with them tomorrow because they actually asked me if I could work for them as well. But we'll see. Um, for those of you who are new, I'm in Adelaide, and just talking about what's going on in my life and finding out what's going on in your world. Talk about video games. We're talking about car racing. We're talking about Adelaide. We're talking about the Fringe Festival. We're talking about the Garden of Unearthly Delights and things like that. Um, yeah, got a whole heap of projects happening. Got TAFE coming up, as I said. There's another short course that I want to do. Just got to save up the money for that. I want to go overseas this year. That's panic inducing a little bit, but it'd be great. It'd be great to be able to do that. Um, Hi there, Beck. Sorry, I got the address wrong of your YouTube channel. When I did the annotations for that, I didn't bother looking it up, and I should have done that. So I apologise that. But that when the text comes up, it's not actually like a hyperlink. So I'll have to put that in the comments and stuff like that as well. But I'll do that in the next video because um yeah, I don't know about YouTube. The funny thing is I started using ChatGPT and I don't recommend it. Um, it's basically just like a chatbot, right? Um, but it's got access to like a lot of stuff on the internet and um, World War Three. Not a fan. Not a fan. I've had this question come up before, I think, and yeah, there are better things that various countries could be spending with their money on. The fact that people vote for these people, um, not just messy times. When you take out the leader of another country, it destabilizes that country, and um, it will backfire. It will backfire in a way that people, I, I think, you know how sometimes you can be in an environment where there's no common sense, right? We've all done it. So, for example, um, I've just had a chat with my accountant because I need to get my taxes done. And yeah, so I was in a panic mode, right? I looked at the current date as being March the 5th. No, not March, not when I did it, it was March the 5th. So it's March 7th now. So This is on Thursday, right? Um, so I go to the the Australian Tax Office website, and because I go through an accountant, instead of the tax being due on October 31st or before October 31st as a deadline, they extend the deadline out to May 2026. But because I was thinking March, I looked at the date and it said May 15th, but I read it as March 15th. So this is what happens when, what do you call it? Um, yeah, this is what happens when you panic, right? And you don't think properly. You don't process information properly. And what I'm thinking is happening is that when people like the Secretary for War and the President of the United States uh, go to war, they think that it's all hunky dory. Oh, it'll be over in 4 or 5 weeks. But they said that about the Iraq War and Afghanistan and stuff like that. No, and these are also holy wars apparently. So they're not going to end. These are wars without end because these are wars about just perpetual destabilization and assets and getting oil. Um, but it's also about control and fear. And what's really scary is that it's all coming from Israel. And we now have laws that say that you can't speak out against Israel because you will be considered promoting anti Semitism, even though the only Semites in that region are the Palestinians. And that's where it becomes really, really toxic and very controlling. I've seen, no, they're not making friends at all, but the American Constitution says that a prime minister, no, a president cannot have more than two um, terms in office. Now, whether that's consecutive or total, um, you cannot have any more than more than two terms as president. Um, Trump wants to be a forever president. He's strip mined the Constitution. He's lined himself up with the Supreme Court. He's lined himself up with Congress. Um, so it's Republicans all the way through. There are victories every now and again of like a massive, massive pushback against or towards the blue side, the Democrats in the United States. Um, and they have midterms coming up, and the midterms will determine a lot. But the problem is the people on the left side of politics who didn't vote for Kamala Harris, or Kamala Harris, however you pronounce that. The people that they mean well, but they do nothing. And people will often, you are correct, Heath, um, that is what it is. It's straight up fascism. Um, he, the president, quite literally said he would be a dictator on day one. Now, he was asked whether he would be a dictator. He said no, except on day one. And everybody thought, well, maybe he'd be a dictator for 24 hours. No, he's been a dictator since day one. Um, and it was always his plan to do this. It's always been his plan to do this. Um, yeah, it's crazy. But at the same time, it's part of a fear campaign as well. When people are too scared to speak out, um, if you, it's like ICE is arresting civilians and stuff, US civilians. In the UK, they've cancelled and people's rights being taken away every day. Yeah, in the UK, they've cancelled dual citizenships. So there's a visa, a special visa if you have a dual citizenship. So they're blocking people coming into the country if you have a dual citizenship. Now I don't know how true that is. That's just what's been posted on Facebook. Um, yeah, crazy stuff. Um, but yeah, they're the ice actually just lining up. They're just going around, but there's people dressing up as ice. Um, no, see, when I started, they had a specific uniform, and they had jackets that said ice, and caps that said ice and stuff like that. And they were blue uniforms. The and they had badges and warrants, and you knew who they were. Nowadays, anybody can dress up as an ICE agent and kidnap kids, kidnap women, whatever they want. And they don't even have to be Hispanic or black or whatever. They would just go after anybody. Um, but ICE is made up of like the people that stormed the Capitol on January 6th, and yeah, mostly MAGA. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. Um, but you'll notice that I don't really talk about this stuff on social media. I might agree with stuff on Facebook. I don't talk about it on TikTok. I don't talk about it on YouTube, except for like this is a live video. There's no, there's a good chance that it may or may not be recorded. The last time I did a live video like this, I went for 2 hours and it wasn't recorded at all. So that's a bit of a pain in the bum. But maybe in this case, it not being recorded is probably a good thing. I don't know. I've said some fairly controversial things right now, but it's all true. I think the idea is to continue to give people hope. I know, like from your position, Heath, your situation, having a son that is trans, um, the anti-trans stuff must be frustrating as hell. But I think, yeah, the idea is to continue spreading hope and happiness and alternatives to this stuff, because it'll drive you crazy, right? It's designed to make people fearful to the point where they can't act, that they can't speak out, they can't do what they need to do to make the situation better. And when when people are more informed, they can make cool, calm, rational decisions and things like that. Yeah. Um, all you can really do is you control your own fear and know that fear is like it's always future based, right? It's always future based. Um, if it means getting out and protesting or um, finding different groups, support groups, those sorts of things, advice groups, um, just talking to people, just one on one in the coffee shop, at the pub, whatever. Um, friends, family. Um, don't forget, at least in this country, right, you can still vote people out. Um, Unfortunately, we live in a country that's where the Murdoch press has taken over, and I I can't even look at the when you go into like a petrol station or something, and they'll have a copy of the advertiser. Um, I can't even look at the headlines. I'll give it a glance just to see what they're reporting on, but well, coffee shop, right? You're probably a lot friendlier in a coffee shop. I don't know what the price of a coffee is these days. Um, it's funny. Like I'd rather go to a pizza shop, right, than go to a fish and chip shop because the price of minimum chips is just like ridiculous. One of the local shops is charging like $9 for minimum chips, and I'm just like, well, for another $5 I can get a pizza. You know, yeah, many decades ago they had my mother on the front page. She didn't do anything wrong, didn't kill anybody, didn't rob any banks or anything like that. All she did, she wrote a letter to the editor and said, I have allergies. I asked the Housing Trust for a transfer from the northern suburbs to West Lakes, as you would if you had allergies to the pollen and stuff in the northern suburbs. And then what she said was, I'd never move back to the northern suburbs because of the pollen. So they had her on the front page. They had my younger brother at the time holding a fishing rod. They took a photo of her on the West Lakes, down the beach at the West Lakes, and they tried to make it look like she was rubbishing the northern suburbs. And I never moved back to the northern suburbs. And I was like, no, that's not what she said at all. They twisted her words completely, and they made it like so that she was an enemy of the northern suburbs. So I had neighbours because I was still living with my father at the time. This is how long ago it was, and so that would have been over 30 years ago. So I had a neighbour come over and say, "Oh, look, can you believe what your mum's saying on the?" And it's like she didn't say that at all. If you read it properly, this is what she said. She said, "Look, she just had allergies and she can't live in an environment where there's too much pollen." Like, which is reasonable, right? If you had an opportunity to move somewhere, I mean, you have moved it to an area that has that's relatively quiet. It's a decent area. If I had the opportunity to move from where I am to where you are, yeah. So if I had the opportunity to move from where I am to near where you are, um, with a small little cafe and the quiet little park, and there's no hoons, there's no it's not a bad idea. You know, if I had the opportunity, why not? I think I could thrive in an environment where it's sort of not too difficult to get into the city. You know, if I had a car, it's not likely to be stolen. You know, where I am now, I've got drug addicts in a couple of units over. Um, they tried to break into the units next to mine. They ruined them for months upon months upon months. Yeah, I'd move there in a heartbeat. I really would. Um, but yeah, just hang on a sec. I'm going to put my phone down just to recharge for a second. I will be back in less than 30 seconds. Just chat amongst yourselves and just stare at the ceiling. Try not to get hypnotised. And I'll be back very shortly. Yeah. Um, well, sort of. Like most of the time, it's not too bad. Most of the time. Hi there, Hawkball. How are you? If you haven't already, please consider. Excuse me. Please consider subscribing to the channel. Hello there. Hello there. That's good. Um, we're just talking about. I'm in Adelaide, South Australia. Please feel free to leave it where you're from in the comments down below. And yeah, just hanging out on a Saturday night, just unpacking and talking about cool stuff. South Perth, that's pretty cool. Cool. I once knew someone south of the river. I don't know what that means in Perth, uh, but I'm guessing that is South Perth. Um, I don't know. Do they use the river to like separate North versus South Perth? I don't know. Um, yeah, there's a long, sad story with that lady, but yeah, she loved Perth. Um, but yeah, just have a quiet environment. Big river that connects the main city to the lower towns. Okay, that's cool. Yeah, she lived just south of the river, and but very close to the river. Yeah, hey Heath, how you going? Good to be back. Yeah, what I was saying is like if you do choose to subscribe to my channel, please watch a couple of videos first and make up a decision then. I don't like the idea of people subscribing and then they wait a day because they're thinking I'm going to subscribe back to them and then they unsubscribe when they're disappointed. And it's like, well, YouTube doesn't tell me who subscribes to my channel. Sometimes they do. Some people um, don't have like the notifications on to let you know that they've subscribed to your channel and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, it gets frustrating to have the subscriber numbers go up and down, up and down, up and down. And I think, well, are you real people? Are you bots? I've got no idea. You didn't bother leaving me a message or talking, or. But yeah, quite far down Perth. I'm not familiar with Perth. I have obviously looked at maps when I was interested in this particular lady. She unfortunately turned out to be an alcoholic and overdosed on pills and alcohol and didn't survive. So no, I've never been to Perth. I think it would be interesting to, yeah, it's. I tried to save her. I tried to, like, she actually wanted me to help her stop drinking and stuff like that. Um, yeah, her life is. She was gorgeous too. She could have been a model. She was fantastic. But by the way, thanks for the subbing to my channel, mate. I got another video coming after the GP. That'd be cool. I like your presentation style. I'll have to Heath. I'll have to ask you about like what editing software you're using. Becca's mentioned OneShot. No, One Shot. I stopped using the other one. Can't remember the name of it now. It's been that long. Oh, CapShot. Oh, CapCut. No, CapCut. I've stopped using CapCut. They started making the services worse and worse and worse, and they want you to pay like either a monthly fee or an annual fee, and it's just like, no, just sell me the product, let me use it. Have you drove through the Nullarbor? No, I am not suicidal. No, I haven't. I've heard it's pretty bleak, but it's somewhere where you don't want to break down because it's just nothing. Back to the editing with one shot, with InShot. Yeah, I've got InShot. I use that because she mentioned it, and I'm really loving them, except for twice. What's through the nullarbor? Like, is there anything out there? Is it like physically dangerous? Are there gangs of people? Is it a bit like Mad Max out there, or do people just hype it up? Yeah. With InShot, she's coming in a minute. Okay, so with InShot, um, I use it when you go to play the commercials to remove ads. Some of the ads have stopped putting a little X, so you can't get out of, yeah. So you can't get out of the ad. So what I do is I turn off the Wi-Fi, then I do it, and it tries to load an ad. It can't load the ads because there's no internet access. Right? So then it takes away the branding, which is great. No gangs to my knowledge. That's good. Good to hear. But yeah, kangaroos. Okay. So, uh, if you were to break down on another ball plane, um, what are the chances of rescue? Because it's a stretch of nothing. Um, but I would imagine tourists try it, and people probably break down quite a lot. Yeah, I know there's not much out there, but it's something I'll have to look up, I think. Yeah, obviously radio would be like mandatory, and plenty of water. Um, yeah, you need food. How long does it take to go through there? A couple of days? And is there room to pull over to the side of the road if you need to? If you need to like sleep or whatever. Mm-mm-mm. 2 or 3 days. Oh, that's cool. Like at least you can plan like your rest stops and stuff like that. Yeah, I'm just writing down Nullarbor Plain. I'll do some googling on that afterwards. But yeah, that's interesting to know. I find it quite fun. So 2 to 3 days. So that's pretty cool. Is there a speed limit through there? Like, is it 100 or 110? Yeah, 110. Ooh. Oh, hey, there was, but oh, okay. 100 with the caravan. Yeah, that'll slow things down a bit. But at least you can pull over and have some comfort in the caravan and sleep properly. Maybe watch a bit of TV if you've got a solar panel. Pretty good. So William, yeah, I'm good to hear. good to hear that you're back. Up and down, still hanging in there. The best I can do, I can too. There'll be a video on me drive in, driving my dad's Falcon station, Wagon 2. I've probably been emotional. That's all right. It's your channel. You can upload whatever you want, and I hope that things are going well for you. You know, but you use the expression hanging in there. And I think sometimes we do need to let go of a lot of stuff too. You got a mantis, as in the insect, the praying mantis. Was that a type of car, or was that the caravan insect? Yeah. Um, I've. It's been a while since I've seen a praying mantis. I do have a video on this channel of a giant stick insect, like a green one. It was just on my fly screen. But I've also had a praying mantis on my fly screen as well. Crazy, crazy how massive they get. And you think, how do they survive with all the spiders and ants and stuff like that? Yeah, I think, yeah, it's incredible. William, it's good. It's good to keep yourself busy. Um, I find that sometimes you have to go easy on yourself. I've done like a mental health first aid course, but speaking about the girl from Perth, I mentioned her because like her suicide affected me a lot because I blame myself for a lot of stuff and still feel guilty that I couldn't save her life and all that sort of stuff. Um, wow, insane. Um, wow, they can overpower a bird. Wow. Um, so the one of the things I learned was like to be kind to myself. But with the depression, I've had a history of depression. My father was or is a Vietnam veteran, projected a lot of that post traumatic stress disorder crap onto me as a kid. He was alcoholic. Um, wow. Um, but I had to separate myself from him. I might share his genetics, but I'm not him. Yeah, yeah, not just months ago, like years ago. She's been dead for a couple of years. Oh, that's interesting. Your dad's a veteran. Um, yeah. Um, Now I try not to talk about the war with him too much. He's 77 now. Crazy stuff. Yeah, it is sorry to hear. Second Gulf War. Yeah. Um, and now like someone brought up the stuff with Iran and Venezuela and um it is interesting. Like I did see someone wearing a cap saying like they were a veteran of Afghanistan and stuff. And like, and I blinked because just like that was in my lifetime. It wasn't to Vietnam. I was 2 years old when Vietnam finished. But yeah, the I don't think the RSL is going to be closing anytime soon. The last World War II veteran passed away, I think, recently, and the Australian one. And was it World War I? I can't remember. Um, so a lot of the original Anzac tradition, um, Navy against Afghanistan, yeah. Um, yeah, yeah. but I think it's going to be a weird one with this new series of wars. They won't end. Thank you for tuning in, Heath. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday night. Just relax and unwind. Breathing in, breathing out. The routine, and enjoy the rest of this long weekend. And enjoy your Grand Prix tomorrow. And I want to say thank you for everybody that jumped in. And it's been a while since I've done a live video. I've got no idea whether this will record or not, but we'll find out. I'll keep this one relatively short. Um, no, oh no, the girl from Perth, she overdosed on alcohol and sleeping pills nearly 2 years ago. Um, also, I gotta go. Sorry, I reckon I might subscribe. Well, there's no pressure. You might not like the content. I try to make stuff that's informative for everybody. Then again, sometimes I'm just rambling on for like 5 or 10 minutes about what I'm up to and whatnot. But if you subscribe, please stick around. Leave comments about like what you want to see and things like that, and I'll do my best to incorporate that. Yeah, so no, William Cheese no longer with us. She's someone who I tried to save, and then her ex partner got in touch with me and then told me everything that was going on. I didn't even know that she had a partner. She'd been manipulating men for money and all this sort of stuff, and it's a usual sort of thing where you get sucked into wanting to help people who can't help themselves. And I've had to become really strong because of that. Yeah, no, it's okay, William. Um, but it's a life lesson. And now I've become a little bit colder to people's sob stories. People beg for money in the streets, and it sounds horrible, but I will just I just say no straight away, no, because those people just do not pick themselves up. I've had to do the hard work. I've had to make the hard decisions. I've had to work jobs that I hate, um, just to make rent, just to do what I've got to do. Uh, and I've started. If you haven't caught up with the conversation, I'll go over the original stuff that I was talking about. I've enrolled in TAFE for next term, and I will be doing two subjects of a cybersecurity course. I now have a driver's license. There's all sorts of things happening, right? Um, yeah, and there's other courses and things that I want to do. I want to do a podcasting course, but the guy keeps cancelling it. Um, so we'll see what happens in that respect. And I also want to learn how to fly drones and stuff. Those little helicopter things. But I want to do that for a job. I want to be able to hire them out, um, or use them to clean skyscrapers or do bits and pieces. Thank you very much. It's worth going to get. What made my life a lot easier is that I have an accountability buddy. So this is somebody that I meet. It's just a really good friend who wants to see me succeed, and he wanted to help somebody, but because what's happened, he's gotten to a point where he was helping people and they don't appreciate him once they've made changes, positive changes. They don't help him in return. So he just went, no, I'm not going to help anybody at all. But his friend said, no, you need to at least help one person. Otherwise, you'll become just cold. You'll just become evil. So his friend convinced him to help me. And I ended up with a job interview with the Housing Trust. Now that didn't work. They didn't bring me back or anything like that. But now by law they were supposed to, but whatever. Um, then, um, but I got him part-time work in return. So we're bouncing off each other, helping each other out, meeting up with each other at least once a week to say, look, what have you done? What have you done in terms of decluttering your home? What have you done in terms of job search? What have you done in terms of applying for these courses? What have you done in terms of self improvement? Hey Joe, how you going? Oh my goodness, it's been a while since I've done a live video. So if you haven't been watching my videos, I've been talking about like self improvement. Like I finally got a driver's license. I'm enrolling in a special college to do a cybersecurity course. I'm doing that online. Um, this year I've started distancing myself from people that did not have my best interests at heart. I'm not going to the social groups that I used to go to because you have to listen. You have to not listen, but you have to hear the negativity, right? You don't block it out. You have to hear the negativity because those are the people that are projecting stuff onto you. These are the people that will say, "Oh, you'll never do it. Oh, you shouldn't be on YouTube." Yeah, yeah. So you have to, yeah. But at the same time, you have to hear who's being toxic and then not listen to it. And I'd been listening to the wrong people. Oh, you'll never be successful on YouTube. What? Who are you? Are you on YouTube? Do you understand YouTube? No, you're not. So keep your opinion to yourself, right? So I'd rather listen to people like you who are making, who every time you were uploading a video, you'd say, oh, my previous subscribers was this amount, and then my current subscribers is this amount, and there'd always be growth and growth and growth. You tune in to people that you like. You're encouraging to people. You constantly change your hair style and wigs and whatever it is that you do, and it's amazing. It's really cool, and you're always supporting people. And I know that I haven't always been able to do. I haven't done the 20 questions with Jay yet. I'm a little bit scared. Not scared, scared. I'm just like you. I know you can ask any question from anywhere, and that's pretty daunting. But that's cool. I like what you do. Um, but so what I'm talking about is I've got. Thank you very much. Thanks, William. I have like an accountability buddy, so he's been pushing me to do what I want to do, but making sure that things get done. So rather than just putting it off for tomorrow, it's like, oh no, hang on, I've got a deadline. I need to do this to prove to him this is what I've done in the last week, and it's been very motivational. Like I've started decluttering my home, and then I just realised, the stuff that I've bought that I'll never read again, like books I'll never read, comics that I read once and they get stuck in a drawer somewhere. They can be given to other people. They can be supplied to libraries, donated to children's hospitals, all sorts of stuff, right? So the stuff that I don't need, right? I started growing tomatoes, and that's one of success there. I've got fungus gnats, which I have to try and get rid of, but things are looking up, things are progressing, things are moving forward, and yeah, it's all because of an accountability buddy. But I also offer him part-time work sometimes. I, I appreciate what he does. I give back to what he's giving me, and I say thank you to him all the time. My friend, he's currently working with the lead up to a local election, and if you are American watching this, vote in your midterms, and you really, really, really should be voting Democrat. I don't care who it is, at what level. It needs to be a Democrat, because your constitution's at stake. Um, yes, I know the Democrats aren't perfect, but voting independent just won't push you forward. It just really won't. Um, third party candidates are never around after the election. They go dead quiet. Don't waste your vote, but your vote is important, and your vote does count. Um, but yeah, I hope everybody's doing really well. Oh my god, 65 minutes. So I've been doing this for over an hour. So I want to thank you everybody who's still here. It says there's 3 people, but I don't know. I've had 5 likes on this already, so that's always cool. And these live videos, I need to do them more often. Get heaps and heaps of watch time too. But yeah, I've got a whole heap of plans of things that I really, really want to do this year, and it's March, and I've accomplished quite a lot too. So thank you for the people that just coming in, people coming in and out. But yeah, what I'll do is I'll leave it here. I just want to wish everybody a fantastic weekend. Here in Australia, it's a long weekend. Monday is the Adelaide Cup Day. I will be working Monday, Tuesday, and Friday, as far as I know, unless I can get work. Maybe Saturday. Today is Saturday, so maybe Sunday there might be a shift. I don't know. But we'll see. Anyway, I'm going to say goodbye for now, and I just wish everybody a fantastic weekend. Thank you very much. A whole year. I'm going to get a whole heap of stuff done. I'm also planning a trip to the UK. But the other secret is, Jay. The secret is you don't tell anybody your plans until after you've completed them. So in the videos when I'm talking about secret projects, these are the projects that I'm working on, but I'm not going to tell anybody what they are because those are that's when the people say, "Oh no, you will never do that. You're not worthy of those silver plaques that you get for having like 100,000 subscribers. Oh, you'll never get that. You know what I mean? You don't need that negativity. If you're doing stuff and you're having fun, awesome stuff. Keep going. And it's not so much the views or the money coming in from the monetization and stuff like that. It's the context, and the contacts you make, the friends you make along the way. I'm on the other side of the planet. I'm in a place called Adelaide, South Australia. I think you're in Atlanta, Georgia, if I remember correctly. If you were to Google how far that is, I'm guessing it's probably about 15, 20,000 kilometers away. That's a crazy distance, and you're watching me live, near live, as I'm recording this. And you're making contacts with people that you probably never meet in real life. But if you wrote a book or a zine or a comic or something like that, a T-shirt, there are people that you've never met that be buying your merchandise. That's crazy. That's absolutely crazy. But anyway, I want to say thank you for watching. I am going to say goodbye for now, and I will count it out before I go. There's one person here left. Thank you for all the likes. Please leave a like and subscribe, and let me know about your channel. Let me know where you found me and all that sort of stuff. And I'll leave this at 70 minutes. So we've got less than a minute to go. Once again, have a great weekend. You guys have been fantastic. Look after yourself, William. Life is worth living. I don't know what your individual circumstances are. Take one day at a time. Things do get better. You have to stick around. You have to stay above ground. Whatever life happens to throw at you, but learn to let go. It's not about hanging in. It's about letting go. Letting go of your past, forgiving yourself. You can't forgive what other people have done. Forgive yourself, and you'll have a fantastic life. Write a list of things you want to accomplish. Knock them off one by one, and you'll get there. I promise. I'm starting to do it myself. I'm a late bloomer. I'm getting there, and you'll find out more about it on my channel. But anyway, it's been 70 minutes. Thank you very much for everybody that tuned in. I will be back next time. Bye for now. Okay. I want